O you proud Christians, wretched souls and small, who by the dim lights of your twisted minds believe you prosper even as you fall. Can you not see that we are worms, each one born to become the angelic butterfly that flies defenseless to the judgment throne? The words of Dante Alighieri. I'm of the opinion that if you are not willing to hold a mirror up to your own belief system and your own set of opinions, that you have no right to those opinions in the first place. We do need to take a look as men of faith at our own belief systems and their shortcomings. Sometimes the criticisms that come from outside are valid, sometimes not so much. And it's always in times of crisis that the shortcomings of all those belief systems get cast into a starker contrast. Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 1, judge not that ye be not judged. One of the prime and fallback criticisms that non-believers throw out when seeking to criticize people of faith and the faith that carries them. Valid criticism in many ways. The other one is that we don't practice what we preach. This is what the non-believers will tell us. That they are enlightened. That is the position that they hold. That they are more enlightened by not depending on some sky daddy for their faith. But what they fail to realize is that in the absence of faith, something will take its place. It's in the very makeup of human consciousness. Tim Keller said, everyone worships something. The only choice you get is what to worship. Paul David Tripp goes further. You cannot divide human beings into those who worship and those who don't. Everybody worships. It's just a matter of what or whom we serve. Now, I've gone on at length in prior sermons about this, that we all worship something, and we have to understand the full width and breadth of what it is that we worship. The prime, I would say the largest number of non-believers fall on the left, and the left has become a religion in and of itself. There are some stark contrasts between the religion of leftism and the religion of Christianity, obviously. The belief system of leftism gives itself over to things that are self-evidently self-contradictory. Queers for Palestine being a key example. It would be laughable, again, if the stakes weren't so high. Their belief system revolves around things that in the Christian faith are considered the 7 deadly sins. We could look no further than the Folsom Street Fair to see their acceptance of lust, and then that gives way to gluttony and sloth and all of these things. That the way that they hold themselves is more enlightened than us, is that they're not judgmental. They're tolerant. They're accepting. They're forgiving. There's another of the 7 deadly sins that drives the religion of leftism, probably the key one, and that would be envy. In fact, the Marxist politics with which they align themselves these days is an entire belief system based upon little more than envy. But leftism crosses the line into statism as often as not. Sometimes the things that they worship include the worship of government itself, provided that government is under their control. And of course, they have all the trappings of religion. They have their own liturgies, they have their own ceremonies, costumes, they have their own disciples, which they send forth to carry their statist gospel. And when that worship of government, when that government is under those control, these same disciples become shock troops in the street. They have given themselves over to bizarre belief systems, and a lot of it is projecting, a lot of it is fantasizing things that have yet to come to pass. This Handmaid's Tale cosplay nonsense that is becoming almost a fetish unto the left. It's a bizarre thing to witness. It really is. But they're criticisms of us that we are too judgmental, that we aren't tolerant and forgiving enough. The absurdity of that comes into clear view when we have incidents like what happened this week, when a literal demon manifested itself outside a Catholic school and opened fire on a church where children were worshiping. This demon left behind a manifesto, including a video, trappings of many of the things that fall under the religion of the left, and outright hatred for Judaism. Discuss the merits of that. We're not going to get off on dickering about theology or given doctrines. The symbolism, trappings of the left and the leftist religion, the symbology that was used and inscribed on this demon's equipment, whether it was magazines or the weapons themselves, some of the symbolism outright satanic. And in fact, there were a number of ties to an organization known as the Order of the Nine Angles and a cult referred to as 764. We'll delve into that a little bit deeper, but what really got brought out into the light is exactly what nonsense it is when they hold themselves as more enlightened than us because they're so tolerant and they're so forgiving that we don't practice what we preach. That common criticism. And well, they certainly put their beliefs into practice when this demon manifested itself. We fell back on the strength of our faith. We prayed for those who were affected. The administration is choosing to prosecute this as a hate crime, and as well they should, because it is, by any definition, it was specifically targeting them for their religion. But what really got brought out as far as practicing what one preaches with regard to the left was the reaction to our reaction. We saw a group of people of faith, children in particular, that were set upon by no less than an actual demon, armed with a semi-automatic weapon or three. And we chose to offer up prayers because that is the nature of our faith, and that's literally all that we could do given the circumstances. But the other side showed their true colors. Governor Gavin Newsom, among others, including Jen Psaki, one of the former press secretaries for previous administrations, came out lambasting us for prayer, that it was all nonsense, that it wasn't enough somehow, pointing out the fact that the children were praying at the time that they were set upon. Guys, we never said that prayer would insulate us from the harmful effects of those demons that choose to manifest themselves on your side of the coin. But what was even more telling was the reaction on platforms like Reddit, where they actually cheered this on. The tolerance crowd, the acceptance crowd, the forgiveness crowd can tolerate, accept, and forgive anything but disagreement with their orthodoxy of opinion. I read with immense disgust through Twitter the day that it happened, watching those on the left that are still on that platform call into question the silliness of our thoughts and prayers. But I went over to Reddit, and they were actually cheering at the prospect of more dead Christians, cheering the prospect that we got what we deserved because of our intolerance, the shooter being trans and the trans community being under some perceived genocide, that somehow these kids got what they had coming, that somehow every person of faith gets what they had coming. I took a look over at Blue Sky, another platform, to see what was going on over there, and the opinions were pretty similar. The community standards over at Blue Sky are a little bit tighter, so the language wasn't as insensitive, but the message was still the same. Cheering on the prospect of those who disagreed with them being slaughtered in a place where they should have been safe, a place of worship. J.D. Vance came out in response and said that we pray because we know that God listens. Of course, that was further ridiculed. Well, if God listens, how would he let something like this happen to those poor little innocent children? God didn't let that happen. We did. Because we haven't stood strong enough against the evil that would ultimately manifest at its extremes. But I was really set at ease by the words of Tulsi Gabbard. The very essence of God is love. Therefore, during these times of hardship, suffering, we naturally, spontaneously take refuge in him and love itself. Because we know in the core of our hearts that it is only the power of the light of God's love that can drive away the darkness of evil and hatred. Now, sometimes that's not enough to drive out the power of hatred. Sometimes God calls upon us to take more drastic measures. And we can't shirk from our duties in the days to come, in the fight to come, to step up to the mantle of that. A.W. Tozer once said, some Christians have taken all the justice, judgment, and hatred of sin out of the nature of God and have nothing left but a soft God. The soft God that too many people of faith have chosen to get behind in some misguided effort to appease these people. It's not going to be enough. They have shown what they are truly about. They have taken off the mask and shown who they truly are at their core. Whether they admit it publicly or not, there's a level of, ha ha, you had it coming. We can't allow that to stand. We can't allow those diabolical manifestations of those ideologies, when they reach their logical conclusions, to even approach those logical conclusions. It's time to stop turning cheeks and start flipping tables. For all their talk of love, for all their talk of tolerance, when the rubber meets the road, they wear their hatred on their sleeve. They constantly remind us to practice what we preach. I would encourage them, for the sake of honesty and candor, to start preaching what they actually practice. show that level of hate out here in the light, and we will bring our light to your darkness. The opinions expressed by the Reverend are his own and no one else's on the planet. Not friends, not foes, not supporters, not detractors, not sponsors. And I cannot stress this enough, certainly not employers. That last one was for the sake of you docs happy Antifa maggots out there. In any case, the aforementioned opinions have been adjudicated thought crime in all jurisdictions. Consider yourself warned. They are coming from the heart. They are guided by the mind. They are guaranteed to choke you with fistful after Black Latex Club fistful of truth cock until you reach enlightenment, touch nirvana, or your eye sockets bleed. Either way, mission accomplished. Welcome back, boys and girls. It's time once again for the Sunday sermon. A lot more going on to this, and we're going to get into all of it. Right now, getting ready to take the roll call. Let's see where the fire is in the building. Everybody in for the drum roll, please. Nice, man. Hard charging out of the starting gate as we come every single Sunday, or in some cases Monday, for the special Labor Day edition of Reverend Bart's Sunday Sermon. Good to see you all on board. Coming out with that rock and roll track, our bumper music from the band Red Desert, gut stomping rock and roll band from the smoldering embers and crumbling ruins of the once great American city of Minneapolis, Minnesota. The name of the band is Red Desert. The name of the track is Older, No Wiser. Every week I get a little bit older. Every week you guys get to decide if I've gotten any wiser or not. Some weeks I do better than others. We'll see how it goes for this one. Right now I'm going to roll on over here and get back to see who was on board early. Got a lot of comments in the pre-show, man. Who was first on board? The Divine Miss Emmy winning the gold. First one on board, the OG Center Sister herself. Always good to see you, Em. Hope things are going well. Dennis on board, OG Reverend's Ranger and Prophet of Doom. Good to see you, buddy. Hate that we didn't get to check out that show together last night in Austin. It would have been a hoot to take that in together. But again, that came up at the last minute. We'll talk about it here in a bit. Let me see who else is on board. We got Roman on board. One of my oldest and dearest friends, guys. You already know Roman if you've been here for a minute. Good to see you. And if Roman is here, that means that Carrie has got to be lurking in the background somewhere. I'm sure we're going to see her further on down the roll call. Brother Joel Allen Jackson from Ohio. Do you live by the river? Do you live by the river? Little Colonel Kurtz moment. Good to see you, Brother Joel. Happy you made it. Let's see. Scroll on down. Miss Charlie. Hello. Nice to see you. Hate that it couldn't still be in person, but, you know, here I am out on the wind farm. Making that crane money. It's what we do. It's what we do. Go ahead and scroll on through and see who else is on board. Want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Brother Jude. Sorry we missed each other at transition again, brother. I lit out after the show and hauled ass on back to Hereford. So that's where I am. We are going to meet up and have that long discussion that we talked about. We're going to make that happen, but looks like we missed each other in passing again. That's all right. Brother Ryan tried this yesterday, but Bart tricked us into coming today. There was no trick involved. I made a public announcement. Good to see you, Brother Ryan. Always good to see Brother Ryan on board. We got David on board as well. Man, we got all the usual suspects coming on out. Who we got? Oh, what is this? What is this? J-Dub. How you doing, man? Joe Wisdom on board. By the way, man, that thing with J. Garby Pike's just keeping me honest, bro. It's what he does. I understand, man. Things get heated around this topic, and we're going to be talking about that as well further on in the program. I'd love to get into some of these comments more at length. What is this? Just a thought. Could this not be a demon, but God's doing a test of faith? How many were killed for God? Well, and you know what? That is a possibility worth entertaining, man. It's also a possibility that's above my pay grade, but it's certainly there, man. Certainly there. Hey, man, glad everybody made it out. I think we may actually be streaming on my profile page on Facebook. They still won't let me have it on the Reverend Bart News Network, but we maybe are able to connect and stream StreamYard over on my personal page. Not the best of options, but at least we've got two platforms back available to us again, which is kind of cool. Monty, hey man, glad you made it out, brother. And by the way, happy slightly belated birthday Saw that roll across my Facebook feed earlier this week. Monty celebrating his 29th birthday again, right? Something like that, Monty? Am I in the ballpark? Yeah. Gonna go ahead and fade out the bumper music so we can jump on into this stuff, man. I'm happy for everybody that made it out. For some of the usual suspects who aren't here today, man, that's totally cool. I get it. It's Labor Day weekend, man. Were it not for the sake of keeping momentum, I might have blown off the entire thing, man. But I have to stay in the habit. I've got to keep myself focused, got to keep myself moving forward and all that good stuff. But it's good to see all you guys here on a Monday, special Labor Day Monday edition of the Reverend Bart Sunday Sermon. Happy you guys made it out, each and every one of you that managed to take the time to come out and show up on a Monday. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to try not to disappoint. Go ahead and fade the bumper music out again, guys. I remind you all the time, but one more time for the sake of it, because they have been cool enough to let me use that as bumper music for over 5 years now. That's how long we've been doing this. Can you believe it? Where does the time go, man? Red Desert, little gut stomping rock and roll band. Really like those guys, man. We have been using that. We've been using Older No Wiser from Red Desert as our bumper music ever since the earliest days of the COVID cast. It wasn't called the COVID cast, but it might as well have been back then, because, well, that's pretty much all there was to talk about. That's actually where this whole thing started, with regard to this being my cheap therapy. I couldn't deal with it. It's too much. And it continues to serve that purpose, and hopefully it's serving a purpose for you guys. Y'all keep showing up. Thank you. Appreciate it. But in any case, man, Red Desert, really cool band. Download some of their music, buy some of their merch, man. Take care of the people that are taking care of the program. Take care of the people that are taking care of me and making it possible for me to do my best to take care of you guys in whatever capacity that decides to manifest. Speaking of, let's go ahead and get the sponsor shout outs out of the way. First and foremost, Brother Roman over at opiumtales.com. You can check him out on Amazon at Roman Riva, and you can also check out Opium Tales on Substack now. And apparently he is building quite the following over on Substack, and that is very, very impressive. But definitely check it out. Opiumtales.com. They are the erotic pinups and portraits people. Beautiful watercolors of beautiful naked women and testosterone-driven commentary. That, on Planet Bart, is considered a trifecta. So we're happy to have. And again, Roman and I go all the way back to 1988. I would venture to say that there may be at least one person over here in the comment section that wasn't even alive in 1988. So that should give you some perspective of how far me and Roman go back. He's one of my oldest and dearest friends, and I appreciate all of his help, taking care of me personally, taking care of the program, and pushing and supporting me in every creative endeavor that I've ever had. I really appreciate you, Roman. Thank you very much. Also, shout out to my Viking brothers, Casey and Dusty Tellison from Nordic Smoke Barbecue, the only legit barbecue in the inland Northwest, period, bar none. Sit down, shut up, you're wrong. They are it. They are it. And the Viking Longship, which is their big smoker trailer, is out sailing the asphalt seas for the remainder of the season, and they are coming into the holiday season where they will be smoking those holiday birds. It has been a tradition at the Bart Bunker ever since 2014. We are going into 11 years of holiday turkeys from Nordic Smoke Barbecue. Definitely get with those guys. Check them out on all the social media platforms. Dusty, the pitmaster over there, and Casey has now gone on to bigger and better things. He is a practicing attorney. He passed the bar. He's a practicing attorney, and he's also got a book available from Latop Press out of Spokane, Washington. It's available on Amazon. It is called Freaks of a Feather. It is a combat memoir that started out as a suicide note. That should be all the lead in that I should need to give you. He's a phenomenally talented writer. You have got to check that book out. Freaks of a Feather, available on Amazon. And check out Roman's work on Amazon as well under Roman Riva. That is where you are going to find his work. He's got Roman Freely, which is a collection of his watercolor work. That's available on Amazon. And he's got a number of short fiction pieces on Amazon as well. So again, take care of the folks who are taking care of me, making it possible for me to try to take care of you. And we're all building one big community, like minds, kindred spirits. We disagree sometimes vehemently and vociferously. Those are my college words. I got like three of those. Anyway, sometimes we disagree. Sometimes those disagreements get heated. But that is the cool thing about being like minds and kindred spirits, is that we can disagree on the minutia. We can disagree on principle. We can disagree on any number of things, but we can carry on those discussions while maintaining mutual respect. That's what it is to be a thinking, living, breathing, sentient creature in this day and age, at least in my estimation. I've been wrong before, and all 7 times I felt terrible about it. Anyway, what do we got? By the way, got a B-Day coming up in a few days, asking everyone to throw $1 to Jason Sullivan organization. Remember the Fallen. Yes, 100% of donations go to our fallen heroes' families. That is right. Brother Ryan does have a birthday coming up, and that is going to be his charity donation. He does this pretty much every year. Our boy Sully, man, Jason Sullivan, we used to train together. Ryan used to train with him over at Militich. I trained with him over at Paradigm. Jason is a top-notch dude. He's doing the Remember the Fallen ride. Definitely get with that. Remember the Fallen. 100% of the donations go to those fallen heroes' families. Which is a big deal. A whole lot of these charitable organizations, if you look into the way that it breaks down, uh, a hell of a lot of your money is going to administrative fees. It's going to the guys that are doing the social media. It's going to not where you wanted the money to go. And some charities, man, look into it before you go donating your money to a charity. Take a look at how much of that money is eaten up in administrative fees. And some very, very well-known charities, I'm not going to call anybody out by name. Pink Ribbons, you guys know it. Pink Ribbons, yeah, some of those that really make you feel good about giving your money to them. Administrative fees are damn near all that they do. Sometimes as little as a quarter or less of every dollar that you give to these charitable organizations actually goes to the cause. The rest of it is eaten up in administrative fees. And because they are 501c3 corporations or nonprofit organizations, that's all going into somebody's pocket tax-free. Is it a reprehensible way to do things? Yeah. Is it common? Also, yeah. Remember the Fallen is not like that. 100% of your donations go to the families of the fallen. So these guys who gave their lives to protect the freedoms that we have, these guys who gave their lives, their families are being taken care of. Remember the Fallen ride. So for Ryan's birthday coming up next week, which happy early birthday, first of all. All right, everybody wish Ryan a happy birthday, damn it. But also, you really want to wish him a happy birthday, kick down some money to Remember the Fallen. You can find links to Remember the Fallen. You can find them online, all of that good stuff. Take care of some people who are taking care of some other very, very good people. And Sully is a top-notch dude, which reminds me, I need to give him a call because it has been way too long. Jason Sullivan was largely responsible. Well, he was solely responsible for me meeting Coach Frank Haney, may rest in peace, and taking up Olympic wrestling at the tender age of 41. Probably not the greatest move for my physical well-being, but yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Link on Facebook. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so yes, link on Facebook. There we go. Cool. Right on. Dennis, happy birthday, Ryan. Maybe we can also take up a collection. Maybe we could take up a collection for the air conditioner for that car. Yeah, man. That is because listen, man. I want to give you grief about that, Ryan. But after the number of years that I lived in Houston, driving around with no AC, brother, you do whatever you got to do to make that happen. And given the price difference, between what you're going to be paying to repair it out in my part of the world versus what it takes to repair it back home, you're doing the right thing, bro. I don't care. You want to set a window unit up in a which, by the way, man, that's like hillbilly engineering at its finest, man. You got a sweet ass BMW with a window unit hanging out. That's I love it, man. I love it. That it speaks to me. But you do what you got to do in that heat, and thankfully, at least you're up there in my part of the country, in Goldendale, where it's not going to be terrible to where the heat's not going to be like overwhelming most of the time anyway. And before too long, you're going to be able to get by without that window unit at all. You know, it's when it starts getting cold in the wintertime, temperatures drop off pretty quick. Yeah, 7,300. Yeah, 7,500 to fix it in the Dalles, and 1,300 in Houston. Yeah, that stands to reason. One, because you got fewer skilled mechanics in Oregon, and two, regulations and fees and taxes and all that other crap that you got. I mean, keep in mind, brother, it wasn't that long ago where you literally were legally forbidden in the state of Oregon to pump your own gasoline. Yeah, that's you want to talk about like regulatory and nanny state out of control. It's insane. Yeah, it's been 100. That yes, I know it does get hot during the summer, Ryan, but trust me, man. Bear with it for another 3 weeks tops. All right. Bear with it another 3 weeks tops. If it's still in that range, then I'm buying dinner. All right. So dinner's on me wherever, right? If it's still in that 100-degree plus range. 3 weeks, man. I promise you, 3 more weeks, and it's going to settle in, and you're going to get up one morning, and it's just going to be like, I see why Bart and Dennis love this place so much. Meanwhile, I will be down here in West Texas, roasting in the open sun, and with my little pale face, not built for this climate ass, it's going to be an adventure. So, but yeah, bro, enjoy it up there. And I know that you are. Guys, if you're not following Ryan on Facebook, and you should be, because again, we're trying to build a network here. We're trying to build some community. Um, he is up in Goldendale, Washington, man, right there on the Columbia River Gorge, just up the river a bit from the Dalles and from Hood River, and it's just a really, really sweet part of a really sweet part of a state that is part of a really, really sweet part of the country. I will never, ever get tired of the Pacific Northwest. It's freaking beautiful, man. I will never get tired of it. The politics being what they are is very difficult and untenable sometimes, and that is the biggest shame of the whole damn thing because you can't fully embrace the beauty and bliss that is that region of the country without the looming specter of the maggot mob over your head. They're just leftism is cancer, bro. I said what I said, and I stand by it. But good news, this is not one of my bullet points, but since we're here, I'll go ahead and touch on it. One of the things that Mango Mussolini is pulling off and may actually be able to pull off before the midterms, maybe not before the midterms, but before the next general, is to remove mail in ballots. We go back to paper ballots. I think the Northwest is in for a bit of a wake up call. Just touch briefly. I'm not going to go too deep into this because we've hashed it out before. But when I first arrived in Washington State, the vote by mail thing I actually thought was really cool. You know, the fact that they send the ballot, and in Washington, Oregon is not 100% exclusive like Washington is, but almost to the point of exclusivity. Exclusivity, that's one of my other college words. I got three of those. Anyway, They send a ballot to your mailing address. You fill everything out. Boom. You drop it in a mailbox. It goes, and you have taken care of your civic responsibility to vote. When I got there in 2013, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And it totally made sense to me that the left would win 7 out of every 10 elections. It totally made sense to me because they had the numbers, right? In Washington, the SeaTac region, man, Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, everything west of the Cascades, that's where all the people are. And all the people out there, almost to the last man, at least since Charles Kraft died, may he rest in peace, leftist maggots, just leftist maggots. And it made sense that they won because they had the numbers. After 2020, I will never look at another election the same way again. So, regardless of all the things, what is that? What did I miss, Ryan? What did I miss? Felicity was on spot today. For looks, see, and that's one of my other that's one of our mutual college words, right? In any case, yeah, we get rid of the mail-in thing, and we actually go to paper ballots, same-day voting. I think the Pacific Northwest may be in for a big surprise and wake-up call. And by the way, I thought I saw Benny Butchie. Yes, the mighty Bonsai Avongsa has decided to join us as well today. Good to see you, brother. I'm glad you made it out. And, of course, the working man's Musashi, Tom Hollyby from Ashigara Defense. Hey, good to see you, brother. Glad you made it out. So, what the hell are we getting to? Let's just jump into it, shall we? Minneapolis, man. What a mess. What a mess. Literal demons manifesting themselves. Okay, let me take a deep breath and kind of brace myself. Robert Westman, okay, Robert Westman. We can make a Fight Club. We can make a Fight Club mantra out of it. His name was Robert Westman. His name was Robert Westman. His name was Robert Westman. Robert Westman died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound after shooting up a Catholic school and killing 2 kids, injuring another 17 or more in the process. His mother, Grace, is refusing to cooperate with police. In the post-shooting investigation, his mother is refusing to cooperate with the police. And publicly insisted that Robert Westman's pronouns be observed. Okay? You shoot up a church full of children. Pardon the expletives coming up, guys, because I'm really trying to get my language under control here. You shoot up a church full of children. I give 2 flying at 6 rolling donuts about your pronouns. You were a murderer. You are now a dead murderer. You were a maggot. You're now a dead maggot. And your pronouns mean precisely all to me or anyone else. Is that fair? Everybody good with that? Cool. His mother is refusing to cooperate with the investigation. I am dying to see how it shakes out, exactly why she is refusing to cooperate with the police investigation. But I am going to say what we literally caught hell for, and I'm going to say that we need to pray for the victims. We need to pray for the victims. And I'm going to go one further, okay? I'm going to say that we need to pray for Robert Westman. Hell are you talking about? Pray that he got... That is not mine to judge. Okay? I will make observations about his actions. I will tell you point blank to yours or anyone else's face that you lose the privilege of having your pronouns observed when you shoot up a church full of kids. But I will pray. I will pray for this man. I will pray for this man's soul. Okay? I will be point blank honest in saying I will pray for this man's soul because I am admonished to in the scriptures. My human element, my base flesh guided instincts are to dance on his grave. And anyone who feels that way and wishes to dance on his grave or urinate, whatever it is that makes you happy, I'm certainly not going to discourage you. It is 100% understandable. But I am going to say a prayer for this man's soul. I'm going to say a prayer for his soul. Because clearly he was let down. Clearly he was damaged. Clearly his brain was led astray. And how deep and how dark that actually goes remains to be seen once we get off into this Order of the Nine Angles and 764 thing. Which, by the way, how the 764 thing managed to escape me, different thing. We'll get to it later. I'm going to pray for the man's soul. There are a lot of people out there who are seriously, seriously damaged right now. Every one of those maggots that wishes me dead are those damaged people. Every one of those maggots who decide that me and people like me are everything that is wrong with the world and rejoice in bad things happening to me and my ilk. Every one of those maggots who showed their true colors on Reddit and Blue Sky and all the other leftist platforms spoke out in the aftermath of this shooting, cheering at the prospect of dead Christians. Every one of them did not start out that way. They are damaged people. They are damaged people and they deserve our prayers. Okay? And I know a lot of you are, what? I'm trying to walk in the faith right now. I'm really, really trying to walk in the light. You understand? Scripturally, we are admonished to pray for these people. They are damaged. That doesn't mean that I'm going to turn the other cheek instead of flipping tables. I will say a prayer. I will say a prayer for your soul. I will say a prayer for your walk with Jesus. If you continue to lash out in a hostile fashion and take it to the logical conclusion, I will arrange the meeting. But in the meantime, I will say a prayer for your soul. The evil that we make war with, Ephesians 6:12, for we fight not against flesh and blood, but against the powers of darkness in high places, against principalities, against the forces of evil in the seats of power. This is what we're warring against. And those same forces took these people and twisted them up. Twisted them up. In a lot of cases, to a degree that the damage cannot be undone. That is not for me to decide. I am to deal with how they present to me. I am to deal with how they present physically, with how they present socially, with how they present in the way that they interact. You bring it with violence, we're going to respond with violence, clearly. But I'm going to pray for these folks, because the forces that have them twisted up are the same forces that have our entire culture twisted up. The forces that have them twisted up are the same forces that seek to undermine and destroy this nation, this culture, racially speaking, our blood. They seek to undermine all of that. They want it extinct. They will not rest until every last semblance of the West, of everything that is right and good in this world, is eradicated. We, if we are to survive, have no choice but to meet that with the same level of enthusiasm. I am not looking to compromise with these people. I am not looking to negotiate with these people. Culturally, on an individual level, collectively, in no way, shape, or form am I looking to negotiate or compromise with these people. I wish to see them ridden down like grass under a cavalry charge. Every last semblance, every last specimen among them has got to be eradicated, because that is the level of enthusiasm that they're bringing to the game, and they have made that readily evident. When you hear about a church full of kids being shot up, and your very first concern, your knee-jerk reaction to a church full of kids being shot up is, oh my goodness, the backlash against the trans community is going to be terrible. You are a damaged human being. I'll pray for you. I personally will not show you any deference or any mercy when the day comes, but I will pray for you, because you're a seriously twisted unit, my friend. It's always the backlash against the perpetrator when one of the maggot militia's own is involved, right? Have you noticed a trend developing there? When Jihad Johnny, predictably, goes into another place in the UK and predictably stabs 20 people or blows himself up, or, lights into an old person on London Bridge, or pushes someone in front of a subway train waiting at a tube station. There's not a second spent in, oh my God, that poor man got pushed in front of a train. There's not a second spent with those 7 little girls. What a horror. It's always about the backlash. I'm so afraid of the backlash. Yeah, you're right, man. It's terrible. It's terrible, that the 20% have to be worried about the backlash for what the mere 80% are doing. It's a shame that the 20%. I'm going to break some things down for you here, guys. Break some things down for you on a level of pattern recognition. Okay. You guys know how I feel about pit bulls, right? You guys know how I feel about that, right? Do you know how I feel about pit bulls? Here's how I feel about pit bulls. I love the dog. Love him. Absolutely love him. Okay. I recognize the fact that because of a given set of factors, right? The fact of how they are genetically, I recognize the fact that pit bulls are responsible for 8 out of 10 fatal dog attacks. Does that mean that I hate pit bulls and want to see them eradicated? No. It means that I'm going to exercise a due amount of caution when I'm dealing with a dog, a pit bull, that I do not know. I'm probably not going to go out of my way to approach that dog. Okay? All right, you hate them all, man. You just want to see them dead. No, I'm going to exercise a reasonable degree of caution. This is not hate, it's pattern recognition. Okay? All the other factors taken into account, whether the owner is the bad owner, whether the owner is, buying from someone who treated the dog badly and made him more prone to, all of those things are irrelevant to me. What's relevant is the potential that this creature has to tear off a limb. Given the stats and the numbers, I'm going to exercise a reasonable degree of caution. Okay? Why is that difficult to translate into human perspective? Son of a gun. He's mad he runs a crane better. Yeah. Dennis, I'm going to tell you something. That really wild pick that he made, catching that blade, that wasn't Ryan. The dog did that. Okay? Just so you know, I'm putting it out there, right? Because Ryan going to throw that out. I'm going to put him on blast right here in front of God and everybody. The dog made that pick. Pattern recognition. Pattern recognition doesn't translate into hate. Recognizing that black men, young black men, black people in America, period, 13% of the population. Young black men, right? Even smaller percentage of the population. Let's cut that 13 half. Let's go and round up, let's say 8%. Okay? 8%. 8% of the population responsible for 52% of the homicides, 88% of which are committed against, wait for it, other young black men. Does this mean that I hate young black men? Not by a damn sight. This means that I'm going to recognize that there is a pattern, that these numbers exist, and I'm going to exercise a reasonable degree of caution. There's going to be a certain amount of apprehension that I'm not going to go out of my way to embrace a stranger when I don't know the other countervailing factors. Are we all clear on how that works? Right? Everybody good? We good? Right. George, glad you made it out, brother. What do we got? I hope you were having we are actually having a blessed day, sir. And I appreciate the message earlier this week. Sounds like some blessings have come your way as well. And I'm very, very happy to hear about that progress. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact me, bro. I'm always here. Pattern recognition does not equate to hate. There is a pattern with transgendered individuals. Okay? You are looking at a suicide rate, depending on which study you look at, of anywhere from 46 to 58% of trans individuals will attempt or succeed in committing suicide at some point in their life. 46 to 58%. The instance of, percentage of, and just to double check so nobody can say I'm just pulling these statistics out of my ass, we can look through the miracle of modern technology here. What percentage of trans individuals are diagnosed with mental illness. Boom. Here we go. There we go. And we'll kick it on to AI mode. Research suggests that a wide range of mental illness prevalence rates among transgender individuals, with studies showing that between 40 to 77% have been diagnosed with a mental health condition at some point. This variation depends on specific illness, age group, and research methodology. The primary, we are dealing with depression. 51.3% diagnosed with depression, 68% deal with anxiety, serious psychological distress, 40 to 53%, and suicidality, again, baseline 46%, including half of transgender and non-binary youth had seriously considered suicide. All right, cool. This is a pattern. Here's another pattern. You recognize the pattern of trans shooters lately. And it's something that people don't want to take into account because, oh my God, the backlash against the trans community. This is why I don't get concerned about backlash. Do you understand? Because concern over backlash and ignoring relevant factors because of concern about backlash ultimately puts your own safety at risk. Number, again, through the miracle of modern technology here, number of transgender individuals, mass shootings on the rise. Bang. Boom. Overwhelmingly male, obviously. Okay, makes sense. And again, instance after instance after instance after instance after instance. They are not mass shooters are not disproportionately transgender. Okay, that's not what we're asserting here. But the recent incidents, remember the ICE facility in Texas that was attacked. One of the ICE agents was shot in the neck. A group of transgender. There is a whole cultural thing now. I wish I was making this up. Trantifa. Look it up. Look it up. I know. Hey, no, stop giggling. Look it up. Trantifa. Not even making that up. Does this mean that I hate or fear or wish diabolical repercussions against transgender individuals? No, it does not. It means that I am looking at a pattern, I am recognizing it, and I'm taking the appropriate steps to protect myself and the people around me that I care about. Pretty simple, right? Huge difference between that and I hate you and I want you all dead. This is the difference in ideologies that I was trying to reference in the opener. And I got to admit, my delivery in the opener wasn't on point. Didn't feel good about it. So maybe we can clarify a little bit right now. I will pray for the soul of that young man that shot up the place. And again, you see it, like when I say that, people start twitching, right? Lefties start twitching. Please stop. That young man, he went out like, stop misgendering him, stop. No. Not because I'm going out of my way to be an asshole, but because I just don't care. I didn't know the man. Stop! I'm going to pray for the guy. What I'm not going to do is play along with this nonsense where there's some moral equivalency between a young man shooting up a church full of kids and me misgendering him. Knock it off. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this moral equivalency of a young man shooting up a church full of kids and worry about the backlash. You know what I'm concerned about? The kids in the church that got shot up by this lunatic. But further, what I'm concerned about are the cultural elements that twist a person up like this. You understand, when they were going through the stuff afterwards, when they found his manifesto, when they found that video, which you can find online if you look for it, most of the lefties aren't going to look for it. Most of the baseline liberals aren't going to look for it. You should. A little window into this kid. You look at the cultural forces that twisted this kid up, and they keep making the attempt, twisting people up based on emotional arguments. The left considers themselves compassionate. There is nothing compassionate about convincing a kid who is gender confused that his people are being genocided. Okay? And it goes beyond irresponsible rhetoric when it gets to the point where more than a plurality of the political left at least give a nod to what happens. Well, it serves them right. Bunch of Jesus freaks. That's what they get for hating on trans people. What? It's literally the point at which we've arrived. And there's something deep inside these people that go, well, you know, that's what they get. That's what you get for being a hater. That's what you get for being a bigot. That's what you get for being a fascist. You pump a kid's head full of this ideology, and then, oh wait, it gets better. Start pumping him full of hormones at levels that don't belong in his body biologically. And then, just to be safe, scramble his brain up with some SSRI meds. Because you're compassionate. You people are sick. There is something deeply, deeply wrong with you. And then to take it a step further, instead of processing this from a very early age, getting him into therapy, talking through, or conversely, just letting it play out, ignoring it, hands off. What do we know? We know for a fact that the overwhelming majority of these kids who experience dysphoria grow out of it. They either become cishet, those slurs, whatever it is. They either become cis, hetero, normal folks and go on about their life, or they become gays or lesbians. That's the way it's worked since the dawn of time. But now, because you were so damn compassionate, you're going to pump them full of hormones. With the blessing of the medical priesthood, you're going to pump them full of hormones that don't belong in their body at that level. And as soon as they're old enough, you're going to break out the dick saw. Brilliant. And you're going to pat yourself on the back for your gender-affirming health care and how elevated and virtuous you are. You sick pig. You can berate me for my thoughts and prayers, but I'm going to continue to give them to you because you're definitely in need of some praying, bub. I don't blame you. You are at the mercy of the same principalities with which we are at war. The same cultural lunacy. How can I hold you to a higher standard when I've seen an entire culture be freaking wrecked behind this? I know how powerful propaganda is, man. I know how powerful the devil is. But leaving screw tape aside for a second. Leaving screw tape aside for a second. Just his minions and what they have been capable of. There's a reason I reread Unit 731 every single year. Once a year. It's a thin book. I suggest you do the same. Unit 731 Testimony. That is a book that I read religiously once a year. Thin book. You can get through it in a day. Less. To remind myself that this is the level of darkness that resides in each and every one of us. All of you compassionate people out there that think because you're so damn compassionate, you're not vulnerable to it, you're in it and don't even realize it. That's the brilliance of this. That's the beauty of the diabolical nature of this whole thing. They've got you so twisted up that you are literally enabling atrocities and thinking yourself virtuous for it. It's brilliant. On a base level, Mr. Screwtape is to be admired for being able to pull that off. He ain't making nobody do nothing. How many times we had that conversation, Ryan? Screwtape ain't making nobody do nothing. He'll let them spin themselves out of control and go way down that hole. And it's only when they finally come to the realization that they want to point and go, he made me do it. No, he didn't. That was in you. That was in you this whole time. Why wouldn't you look at it? Pride. Ooh, the original sin. There I am being one of those judgmental Christians again. Getting to the relevant facet of the opener, what I wanted to address for the sake of this bullet point, is that there is a difference. These people are praying in their own way. looking for horrible things to happen, rejoicing in the misfortune of Chris. When, not too long ago, when those floods hit Texas, remember? Oh yeah, yeah. Half of them were saying that's God's wrath on conservatives for voting for Trump. The other half were just rejoicing that it happened to people with whom they disagreed. You're going to really rejoice in misfortune like that. How sick are you, man? Do you know how many times I've had to check myself in the last several years? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Ryan, I know, man. I know. Oh, it's just unfathomable, bro. Sick. I have to keep checking myself because my misanthropy knows very few bounds. It has taken me a long time to get around from rejoicing in the misfortune befalling people that have it coming to me just getting to the point of saying, okay, not losing any sleep for it. I'll pray for them. That's been a struggle. As I posted last week with regard to the Ruby Ridge thing, I look at the strength of my friend Sarah, her faith. It's still hard for me to get my head around. I know I'm not there yet. To be able to forgive, to be able to let go, to be able to forgive people who did something that monumentally atrocious. And to do it in spite of the fact that those people haven't even offered repentance. Because that forgiveness isn't for them, it's for Sarah. She is extending the grace that Christ extends to us. She is truly walking it. I'm not there yet. I'm not. I'm not. Might never get there, but I'm working on it. More to the point, let's get back to it, man. Let's get back to it. In spite of all these other factors, people were literally on Reddit and Blue Sky clapping it up. Some of the comments, I thought about pulling some up during show prep. I'll let you look them up if you want. They're there. They're definitely there. I thought about pulling them up. I'm like, no, dude, no. I'm not going to give these people that energy. I'm not going to do it. Will not. Same reason that I'm not going to go on at length too terribly with regard to Robert Westman. Every time you repeat that name, it gives it energy, particularly when they can make you bow down and when they can make you bow down and utilize his chosen pronouns. They've broken you, man. They have literally broken you. If your first concern, again, the backlash. But more to the point, the fact that they ridiculed us for our thoughts and prayers. Dude, they were literally praying when they got shot, man. Okay. I'm sure that God welcomed those kids home. God will pull something out of this. I don't fathom the game plan. Don't pretend to. If you don't think that prayer works, cool. But how are you going to ridicule somebody for offering because you've literally got nothing else to offer? What else do you have, man? I'll take prayers from anybody, man. If I'm really shook up like that, I really get jaw jacked and rattled like that, I'll take prayers. I'll take prayers from Joel. Joel still follows the old gods. I was also true for 30 years. Joel still follows the old gods. Sully still follows the old gods. I'll take those prayers. Certainly. To ridicule people for offering prayer, to actively rejoice in their suffering and their death, and then to smile to your face and tell you how tolerant they are, how virtuous they are. Again, this is what I'm getting to with regard to practice what you preach. Man, I'd be happier if you start preaching what you actually practice. Because what you're practicing is anger. What you're practicing is hate, seething hate on a level that I can barely get my head around. And trust me, I'm familiar with some hate, pal. Trust me on this one, Sparky. I am familiar with some hate. But you're talking about like a level of rage that I can scarcely even get my head around. I've always said this too, man. That's another thing. Going all the way back to 2016. You remember back in 2012, man, I fought like hell against doing sides at all. This team, that team, still hate it. I was a Ron Paul guy in 2012. Didn't care the right or the left, wanted no part of it, just all of it. I didn't move. The Overton window did. I'm still right where I was. Ideologically speaking, I'm exactly where I was in 2012, maybe a half step further to the right. But even then, I acknowledge one thing, getting back to tying it back into pattern recognition that we talked about earlier. Here's a pattern that I recognize is that liberals, leftists, have always been deep down bitter, spiteful, hateful people. For all their talk of how loving and tolerant they are, if you differ from them and their ideology, forget that. Forget every semblance of that. They want no part of it. None. They want no part of you. Can't remember who it was that said it, but I thought it was very well put. We think that they are people. We think that they are people with bad ideas. They think that we are bad people with ideas. Don't let your ideology become your identity. You understand? Even with my faith, right? My faith, that doesn't define me as a human being. If it did, you could put that in a box that's easy to define and stick me in that little box, because that's your perception of how all Christians are. You couldn't be further from the truth, but that's your perception of how all Christians are. You can observe, getting back to the pattern recognition, right? Same thing. I don't treat all pit bulls the same across the board. I don't treat all black people the same across the board. You shouldn't assume that all Christians are the same across the board. The difference between us over here on the right is that we're allowed to disagree. Anyone who differs from the leftist orthodoxy is treated as an apostate. That was the whole point of the opener. This thing has taken on the characteristics of religion. If you break from the orthodoxy, you are an apostate. And the orthodoxy has decided that the trans agenda, 100% of it, lockstep all the way to the end, cannot be questioned under any circumstances. Same thing with abortion, same thing with race, same thing with DEI, all of it. It's an all or none proposition. We, over here, every time we start bickering amongst ourselves, the media goes crazy. Look at it, Republicans tearing each other apart over the... No, we're having what's called a disagreement. We're allowed to do that. Among people of faith, we're allowed to do that. Orthodox doesn't necessarily agree with the Catholics. Catholics definitely don't agree with the Protestants. Catholics, Protestants, and Orthodox have major issues with the Mormons. And of course, nobody, started to take the easy joke. I'm not going to do that. Not because I'm trying to avoid offending anybody, but just because it's pointless. It's not going to serve the point that I was trying to make. It's just a cheap joke to aggrandize myself. I'm not going to do that. Yep, there you go. There you go. Drifted nationalists over the years, more nationalists than libertarian now. And that completely stands to reason, brother. Completely stands to reason. Why wouldn't you be? What is it? What is not glorious about being a nationalist, man? Which is going to lead me to my second bullet point here in a minute. Mayah Sommers. Robert Westman. I want you guys to look into this. I'm not going to do the deep dive on it myself because I am not well versed enough in things like the Order of the Nine Angles and the 764 cult. I'm not well versed enough in it. A, to offer an opinion. B, to go spouting like I'm an authority, and C, to start pontificating about it. I'm very late to the party on this stuff, so I'm not gonna spew like an authority. I'm not gonna pull a Titus and let Matt Al give me my opinion. I'm not gonna do that. I'll tell you, it's disturbing as hell what I'm looking at. The essence of the whole thing is this: we are at a point where, and this is not the first attack against churches. This is definitely not the first attack against Christians, and it's certainly not going to be the last. You look at what's going on in Europe right now, okay? All those churches that are getting burned, who's doing that? Are the French burning down cathedrals? Are the native Europeans burning down Christian and Catholic churches in Europe? Is that what's happening? You and I both know better. In Canada right now, the old school British and French Canadians who are burning Catholic and Christian churches in Canada, hundreds, by the way, hundreds. Is that what's happening? You and I both know better. Oddly enough, we have an attack like this, and it's an American. Wow. That's a pretty important difference. It's an observation worth making, isn't it? One of our very own, but not the homegrown terrorists that we've been told for the last 4 years that we're supposed to be afraid of. Wasn't white nationalist. Wasn't a guy in a red MAGA hat. Sorry, Rosie O'Donnell. We all saw that. First thing comes out, hard charging. And it's another MAGA person. Another MAGA person. Even Trey Gowdy on Fox. Grow some nuts, man. Gee, did you see that? Trey Gowdy on Fox. You just start looking at it, and, guns, bad, and it's always a white man. What the hell happened to you, Trey? I had all kinds of respect for you in the Benghazi hearings. You just lost your balls. Are you on the Epstein list, Trey? Is that why you're playing ball with him now, Trey? You make me sick, bro. What is this? It's only the white man. It's only the white man. Well, in this particular case, yeah, it was a white man. In fact, I'm making a big deal out of it being a white man. It was a man, wasn't it? In spite of their chosen pronouns. Some of the politicians with their little oopsies. We need to have something to say about the gunman. Oh, what? I'm sorry, Miss Klobuchar. What was that? The gun what? The gun what? Mazie Hirono? The gunman, the gun what? The gun what? Gun what? Gowdy, man. You're sickening, bro. That was nauseating. Watching you prostrate yourself like that. Get bent, bro. And yeah, Roman, nationalism, definitely on that nationalist tip. You guys didn't even see the shirt, man. You guys didn't even see the shirt. True patriot, anti-Antifa, war dog, death to the left side, blah, 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 blah. Here's what's shaking. It's not going to be the last. It's not going to be the last. We don't even need Jihad Johnny over here to burn churches down, right? They haven't stepped it up like that. Get ready, because it's coming. Definitely. Tom Homan can't get him out of here quick enough. Jihad Johnny's going to be coming. There are going to be the same kind of attacks against churches here that you're seeing in the UK. There's going to be arsons. There's going to be burning. There's going to be a lot more shootings. But see, here, that's the beauty of it. Speaking of the things that have got the culture twisted up, this same leftist propaganda machine that told Robert Westman, A, that he's a girl, and B, that him being a trans person means that his people are being genocided, get him twisted up like that. We are creating a whole series of, we were told for the last 4 years that the red hot MAGA crowd, the ultra MAGA, Joe Biden with the Nazi backlighting, ultra MAGA. We were told for 4 years that we were the ones to be worried about. Us with our MAGA hats, our dangerous clingers to guns and religion and what the hell ever, right? Now, instance after instance, leftist maggot, trans, leftist maggot, trans, leftist maggot, trans. They're lighting it up. They understand from their perspective. Why wouldn't they? If they were listening, this is why I pray for these people. If I had that much of a cloud, right, that strong of a propaganda machine twisting my head every day to provoke me to irrational fear, why wouldn't I lash out like that? I feel terrible for Robert Westman. I do, man. But I'm not worried about the backlash. I'm worried about the victims. I'm worried about what comes next. Because there are thousands more out there like this. That is the strength of the propaganda machine. And once they fall off to the side, we've got Jihad Johnny to deal with. And God knows how many Chinese nationals have come in under the radar. There are consequences for that 4 years that the border was wide the hell open. Y'all understand this is 5th generation warfare? The Chinese could not touch us militarily. You erode it from the inside out. And meanwhile, the Ryan Thauberns of the world are sitting back yucking it up. Oh, he's totally gone over to the conspiracy theory. How many times have you been right, bro? in the last 4 years? How many times? Every single thing that you said was a nut job conspiracy theory. At what point do you get tired of being wrong, man? By this point, all of us should already have been dead because we're unvaccinated. At this point, we should be in a mighty recession right now. That's what you told us the minute Mango Mussolini started talking about tariffs. That's what you told us was going to happen. None of it's come true. The stock market dip that y'all panicked. See, we're already off to the races. The economy's over. America's going to die. And now we're at record levels in the stock market. Job report is great. Inflation's right at 3%. Do you ever get tired of being wrong, man? Sidebar. Here's the relevant bit. Going forward, there's going to be a lot more of this. There's going to be a hell of a lot more than this. Why? Because culturally, we are winning. Culturally, we are winning. The left has lost its relevance. They're losing votes. They have no institutional power anymore. And they are getting desperate. They are going to lash out with everything that they have. And literally all that they have now is violence. Expect a lot more of it. Expect every sleeper cell from Jihad Johnny to pop up, probably on the same day. It could be massive. Homan has been warning about it. Did you guys see the interview with Homan? You understand that at one point under Biden, the border was wide open. Literally, if you got across the border, that's all you had to do was get across. They would hand you a ticket. Any city in the United States, they would bus you or fly you wherever you wanted to go in the United States. They would find a way to get you a work permit. They would give you an immigration court date as an asylum seeker, and you just come back on that court date. That was the procedure. And in spite of that, thousands of people, because at the time, when they give you all this, they fingerprint you, right? They fingerprint you and they ID you and everything, and then they send you on your way, give you a free ticket. And yet, thousands of people paid extra to the coyotes to bypass that process. What does that say? That says that these are people who didn't want to be caught. Why do you think they didn't want to be caught? There's going to be tons more of this going on. You guys haven't even begun to see where this is headed yet. Haven't begun to see where this is headed yet. But I'm going to recommend that in the interim, you get your face in some scripture and your ass under some iron. It's not coming, boys. It's here. It's here. We are winning. You understand? We. What do you mean by we? I mean culturally, we are winning. As conservatives, we are winning. As men of faith, we are winning. There is a revival going on in this country that reflects a revival that is going on all over the globe right now, and it is a glorious thing to be a part of. I'm happy to be here. We're winning. They're getting desperate. Expect more of this. Expect more of this. You're going to see it from the trans crowd. You're going to see it from Jihad Johnny. You're going to see it from Antifa. They are lashing out, and why wouldn't they? In their mind, they are literally storming the beaches at Normandy. Fascism! Fascism! Why wouldn't they lash out like that? Expect it. Pray for them, man. Pray for them. Try not to give into that hate. I know it's visceral, man. I know it's visceral. I wrestle with it every day. Try not to give into that hate, but expect more of this. Believe it. Which leads me to my second bullet point. Mayah, Queen of Scots. You guys have seen her, man. Mayah Somers. Mayah Summers. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Mayah Summers. That's not actually a picture of Mayah Summers. That is an artist's rendition of Mayah Summers, a beautiful young Scottish lass. I will be the first to say that if her and her entire family need sponsors to seek asylum in the United States, I am volunteering my home. I am volunteering my home. I know there will be 1,000 people with nicer homes than me that have already volunteered, but I'm going to put it out there. Now, here's the beauty of it. Mayah Summers, they went about debunking the story. And you guys, Joe Wisdom, Joe, you still here? Joe, if you're still here, sound off in the comments. Joe Wisdom, if you were still here, sound off in the comments. J. Garvey Pike, who is a good friend of mine. Okay, let me make this abundantly clear for everybody who's listening. J. Garvey Pike is a man of faith. He is a dear friend. He keeps me honest. I love the man. We disagree on this. We disagree on this because it has been debunked to his satisfaction, not to mine. Not to mine. They fired back with that this was a Mr. Dumana. Make sure I should have got my reading glasses so I can make sure that I'm reading this correctly. But Mr. Dumana and his wife, that the man was not a migrant. First of all, he is a migrant. He did come here legally, and he did come here from Romania, apparently. And that's fine. But the Daily Mail and who else? The Daily Mail, Yahoo News, and some others went about saying that Mayah Summers was not being pursued, was that her and her sisters were not being menaced by this man. And they gave like a little half-assed debunking, and that was supposed to be the end of it. There was a police account from the local constabulary and a couple of stories that said, "Oh no, this is a Mr. Dumana, this is a Mr. Dumana, and he's from Bulgaria. He's from Bulgaria, yeah, and he saw how the social media had blown up, and he just wanted to tell his tale." And let me see here. So what we are told, in at least by the Daily Mail, and we're shown lots of pictures of Mr. Dumana, and he's all smiling. He's there with his wife, and it's, the same way that they present every migrant who does these horrible things. This is the same kind of thing that they did with them. I have not seen it, to my satisfaction, disproven that this is anything but what it appears to be. Now, you can disagree with me on that, but let me explain this to you, man. A 14-year-old girl whose sister is 12, okay, doesn't just bust out with a hatchet and a knife chasing strangers around for no reason. Either this guy was menacing her, or she has been previously molested, or any number of things. But you're not going to convince me that a normal Scottish girl from a working class Scottish family just snaps one day and goes chasing around a Bulgarian man with a knife and a hatchet. They arrested her. Of course they arrested her. Yeah, but they arrested her. Yeah, of course they arrested her. Just like they arrested the 15-year-old in the UK that was being victimized by a Pakistani rape gang. They arrested her too. They arrested her dad when her dad came to pull her out of this place, and they covered it up. So no, I do not believe what they are saying. And Mr. Pike, I love you, but until I see it proven to my satisfaction, this is going to be treated as a freaking fact. If that makes me a bad person, or you choose to say that that diminishes my credibility, I'm perfectly willing to live with that. But even look today, bro. We've been at this for, what, a week now? We've been at this for a week, and this is all they have to come up with. A little puff piece on Mr. God, can I not remember? Not even remember the guy's name. But a little puff piece on our Bulgarian migrant family and his lovely wife. And oh, look, he's got a cross tattooed on his neck. He can't be a bad guy. Now we can reveal the man being threatened is a family man who has been living in the UK for years. So, every one of these Pakistani migrant rape gang had been living in the UK for years. Don't care. That says nothing to me. Speaking from his home in Dundee, Mr. Dumana insisted he did nothing wrong and is in the country legitimately. Great. So you're here legally. It doesn't get to why a 14-year-old girl snaps and decides to maraud and menace you with a hatchet and a knife. The legal system being against the victim is exactly how these Pakistani rape gangs have operated. Why should I believe that this is any different? What is the reason why I should believe this is any different? They arrested her. Yeah, they arrested a number of the girls that tried to leave the Pakistani rape gangs in the UK. They arrested parents who tried to pull them out. So the fact that they arrested the victim means positively dick as far as the veracity of this story. You're still not going to convince me that a 14-year-old girl, watch the video, that a 14-year-old girl just snaps like that over nothing, waving blades around, knowing full well she can go to jail for it. That this guy was just standing there minding his business when suddenly three Scottish girls, three Scottish sisters, just roll up on him with a knife and a hatchet and start screaming at him to stay away from them. And for one particular liberal woman out there who is trying not to say, well, I really don't know, what happened to believe all women? Hashtag believe all women unless the guy's a migrant, unless the guy. Believe all women unless. And let me be the first to say, hashtag believe all women is bullshit. But I'm speaking with regard to the people that are constantly believe all women, believe all women. Okay. Is there an age limit for believe all women? What I'm speaking from is from looking at this. I've watched the video over and over and over, the entire thing, not just a small clip that was shown. And this was supposedly debunked, right? Look up, okay? Here, because here's the search terms that I used. Mayah Sommers debunked. Mayah Sommers. Mayah Sommers debunked. It pulled up one story in the Daily Mail and another from a Scottish newspaper, and both of them were the same puff piece. That this Dumana guy, Durmama, I got to get my reading glasses out, guys. I'm sorry. I should have thought of that. But this Mr. Dumana guy, it's just picture after picture. The same way they do with George Floyd. The same way they did with the Skittles kid. I can't even, whatever. To show pictures of them when they're pictures of him when, oh, look at him. He's so young and fresh-faced. He couldn't possibly be a guy that would do anything horrible. Do you guys not understand how propaganda works? Do you guys not understand the nature of the system that is protecting these freaking savages? Yes, you understand it. So what is it about this case that you're so willing to go, well, no, man. It totally makes more sense to you that a 14-year-old girl and her 12-year-old sister and her even younger sister just find a guy that looks vaguely foreign in the middle of a public square, and knowing full well they'll be arrested for having those blades, decide to go chasing after him with a hatchet and a knife. You want to hear a more likely scenario? This maggot made his play. Little Mayah went back to the house, got the hatchet and the knife. He realized he wasn't going to be having his way and grabbing itty bitty titty today, right? He was going to have to wait for another day and another underage Scottish white girl. And so instead, he brings out again, this is a guy who felt like he was being menaced, felt like he was being attacked, but he got his phone out, and in that calm tone of voice, just, okay, show the knife, show the knife. Why was it so important that you show the knife? Show the knife. That way I know you're going to jail, and I'm going to be scot-free, and everybody's going to be screaming racism and xenophobia. I'm not buying it, man. I'm not. You deal with enough. You deal with enough girls who have been legitimately victimized. The work that I've seen working with ministries that pull these girls out of human trafficking, the look in that girl's eyes is not the look of somebody randomly chasing after a foreigner. Something happened to this girl. And if you think it makes me a bad person that I won't just accept this little debunking and flush it under the rug, then I can live with that. But I'll flip the script on you. I think it makes you a horrible person not to look in her eyes and see the possibility of what more likely happened here. So you and I can just agree to disagree. I will respect you that much, and I will expect the same courtesy in return. In the meantime, this has not been debunked. Not by a damn sight. Couple of puff pieces on this guy. Flushed it, swept under the rug like every other thing. Not buying it for a damn sight. I never touched her. I didn't hit her. I swear on my life. I have a baby now. I would never hurt someone. If she's only 12, why was she messing with me and having weapons? I was going to shop, and she was stopping me going on my way. If I did hurt the girl, why didn't the police arrest me? You know why. They saw from the CCTV cameras from Farm Foods that she was stopping me going on my way to a shop. And they said that she was attacking me and calling me a fucking migrant. And to make it even better, in the debunking article, as he's talking about it, I saw former Scottish minister Humza Yousaf state, "Who would have guessed the far right are full of bullshit?" I'm sorry. What was his name again? What former Scottish minister? What? Humza Yousaf state, "Who would have guessed that the far right are full of bullshit?" Well, that sound like a Scottish name? The Yousaf clan. They were just down the glen from the McGregors, I think. Yeah, definitely 100% Scotsman. Yeah, certainly wouldn't have any reason to smooth over and cover this whole thing up. I'm sorry, man. No, this debunk thing is not working for me. Now, let me tell you what else I found that you haven't. At least I don't believe you have, or you would have at least come back and brought it to my attention. Migrant confronted by a schoolgirl wielding axe in Dundee says he came to UK legally and did nothing wrong. I believe that he came legally. I believe that he's Bulgarian. I do not believe that he did nothing wrong. I don't believe that. Absolutely do not believe that. Don't touch my sister. She's only 12. He went after the girl. He went after the little girl. Don't give a damn. Until you show me the CCTV, until you show me the closed circuit TV, the security cameras that you were swearing up and down that you have, until I see it, at which point, by the way, at which point, if it turns out it is as he says, and these arrest reports turn out to be nothing, which I'm about to get into, I will freely pony up and admit that I was wrong. But I'm not buying it. Not buying it. Not buying it by a damn sight. He's not illegal. So what? Whole lot of the Pakistanis, majority of the Pakistanis involved with those rape gangs weren't illegal migrants. Big chunk of them were. That's not the point. The point is you're not Western. Look at the man. He's not Western. He's not a product of the West. He definitely touched these girls. Happened at a roadside grass verge close to the city's high street. In the video, the girl, wearing torn jogging bottoms and a navy t-shirt, being kept away from Mr. Dumana by another young female claiming to be her sister. With her hands behind her back, she then yells, "I'm fucking 12, mate. You're fucking battering kids, mate, because you're fucking kid bashers." Then he says, "Show me the knife, show me the knife." Then another little girl, "Get the fuck away from us." He keeps saying, "Show the knife, show the knife." That's it, show the knife. Because he knew that was his get out of jail free card. I'm not buying what they're laying down, dude. I'm just not. So the debunking articles. Well, I'm not illegal, Mark. I don't care. I don't care that you're here legally. You're diddling kids and you're a scumbag. Again, Mayah Summers, and then we go to X. Aesthetica. I spoke with the mother of one of the girls and got the entire story that the media is covering up and lying about. Here we go. Let me pull this up. Oh, conspiracy theory, man, they're covering stuff up. Oh, really? Should we talk about how we got here? Should we talk about the Pakistani rape gangs? Should we talk about the cover-ups that went on there? And everybody laughed and chuckled and said conspiracy theory, and everybody laughed and chuckled and said xenophobe, and everybody laughed and chuckled and Nazi fascist, Mosley, whatever. And then it came out. But not only did it happen, but it was worse than we even thought. So unless and until Mayah Summers will remain a legitimate story. I spoke with the mom of one of the girls and got the entire story that the media is covering up and lie about. First of all, the reporting got the names of the girls mixed up. There were 3 girls who were there and who were accosted and attacked by the migrants, period. Now, she's identifying them as migrants. Oh, we find out they're here legally. Okay, so we correct the migrants parts, not the molestation parts. Lola is the hero from the video. Not Lola, not Mayah Summers, Lola Summers, apparently. Lola is the hero from the video. She's the one with the axe defending her sister from the attackers. Ruby is Lola's older sister who was attacked and hospitalized. Odd, no mention of that. Ruby's best friend, Mayah, who was with them and went to call the police after Ruby was attacked. Here's the summary of what happened from Mayah's mother. Yes. So what happened was the girls were just out there walking, and the man in the picture made comments to Lola, the younger girl, calling her sexy and other sexual remarks. Then the girl started to tell this man to leave them alone and stop following them and making sexual remarks to them. After that, the man's sister, also in the picture, came around the corner and physically attacked Ruby, the older sister. She grabbed her hair, dragged her to the floor, and started to punch her. Then both the man and the woman held her to the floor. At this point, my daughter, Mayah, called the police. So my daughter's account after that is a bit blurry, but that is when Lola had the weapons. She pulled them out to protect Ruby. After that, the man came back at Lola, recording her, making sure she showed the weapons to the camera and antagonizing her. Ruby was hospitalized after the attack with a severe concussion and a tennis ball-sized lump on the back of her head, as well as lots of bruises. Aesthetica is the name of one of the accounts that is following this on X. I will trust that before I trust a single goddamn thing that the mainstream legacy media has to say, including the Daily Mail, so-called debunking this story. We have not heard the end of that. And until and unless we do, her name will remain Mayah, Queen of Scots. I'm sticking with it. Feel about that however you want. Because, again, the stakes are too damned high. I am sick to death. Legal, illegal, does not matter. You are culturally incompatible. Culturally incompatible. I don't care that you're there legally. Culturally, you are incompatible. You are a scumbag. You have come there to pillage. Right? Right, thank you. Same narrative can be applied to 6 million pizzas. Just saying. Absolutely. Ah, Trayvon. Yeah, that was Skittle Kid. Yeah. Dennis, that's just for you, buddy. Scot free. Yeah. Anyhow. At the end of the day, I do believe that it happened as the girls delivered. I do not believe anything coming from the legacy media. Their track record has been actively participating in the cover-ups that have gone on with regard to the Pakistani rape gangs and every other atrocious thing that has happened in the United Kingdom. Why should this be any different? Why should this be any different? I do not believe what they're saying. Feel about me however you want. I don't care. What I am doing is unabashedly standing for the West. What I am doing is unabashedly standing for my blood and my people. Funny how some people like to claim Irish ain't got a bone in their body when it comes to standing for their own blood. Am I talking to you? Probably. Yeah, man, I'm proud Irish. Yeah? Show it. Show me that you give a damn about anything but impressing your freaking, virtue signaling for your liberal friends. You're a freaking coward, bro. You're a freaking coward. Nothing more. And anybody who can stand by, and watch this take place, man. Don't worry about it. It's only civilization, bro. Don't worry about it. It's only Western civilization. It's only your blood. It's only your culture. It's only legitimate racial extinction. No big deal, right? We must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. Anybody? Nobody? Fine. I will defend the right of any culture and any bloodline to preserve its own legitimate self-interest. I will stand for the right of any culture, any bloodline to do that. But it's about effing time that people start returning the courtesy. It's become readily evident that they will not. So if you're not going to give it to us, brother, best believe the awakened Saxon is going to take it. I am the Reverend. That is the gospel. Close with a prayer. Lord God, forgiveness does not come easy to me. I am genuine and sincere in my hope for the soul of not just that man, not just that man that did what that man did in Minneapolis, but for the entire culture that is being set upon by the ways of the deceiver and the treacheries of the father of lies. I pray for their clarity and discernment, Lord, that fewer of them will fall to the wayside, that it becomes a point of diminishing returns, that clarity and discernment keeps people from being twisted up. For the ones that are too far gone, I pray for their souls. I pray that they can be pulled out of the pit. That is above my pay grade, Lord. That is above my pay grade. God, I just ask that you speak to them, touch their hearts, enable me to speak a word that can touch somebody's heart, Lord. This gift that you've given me for oration, however it can serve the kingdom, if that one word can pull somebody back from the brink, Lord, let it be. If your will is for me to go into a valley of dry bones and raise you up an army, Lord, then let it be. Not to aggrandize myself, Lord, for the glory of the kingdom. And that kingdom is coming, Lord. That kingdom is coming. Every knee shall bow and every tongue confess, and it will be a glorious day, Lord. And in the meantime, we're just holding it together as best we can to get through the day, to do what we can for the kingdom, Lord, to do what we can for the people that we love and the people that love us. For my brothers and my sisters in Christ, I ask that you keep your protective hand around them, your guiding hand before them as we go through our daily lives, Lord. Particularly those of us for whom forgiveness doesn't come so easy. Help to show us the grace that you extended to us with your son, scourged, tortured, and murdered on that cross to find redemption for us. Help us to find some hope for redemption for these people who have been so twisted up, Lord. I hope that we can reach them. I hope that we can reach them. But in the meantime, strength, clarity, and discernment always, Lord. I ask these things in the mighty name of Christ, my Lord, my Savior, my Redeemer. Stand ready to serve the kingdom with everything that I am, Lord. Amen and amen and amen and amen. Love y'all, man. Thanks for coming out on a Monday. I appreciate y'all. I really, really do. I'm going to pass around the digital collection plate. If y'all want to kick down, that'd be a beautiful thing. I always appreciate it, as I've said before. It's not a big deal if you can't, though. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm in a motel room, which means that I'm out here working. So, my livelihood doesn't necessarily depend on it. But if anything that I said, man, change your mind, open your heart, touch your soul, pull some scales from your eyes, whatever it is that it may or may not have done, and you want to kick down something, man, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for that. I'm on PayPal, I'm on Cash App, I'm on Venmo. One thing I'm not on right now is Facebook Pay, as I found out. But outside of that, I'm on every other thing. If you can't kick down, I get that too. Here's what you can do, man. Share it with your friends. Tell them something about it. Tell them there's this fat, toothless, crippled crane operator with some opinions that gets on and rants and raves for a couple hours every Sunday. He's a follower of Christ. He's a man of faith. He's a man of spirit. Maybe you see something, get something out of it. Tell them about the show, man. Spread that word a little bit. But here's what you can do above and beyond anything else. Don't do this for me, but do this for yourselves, guys. Talking about Live the Three, I didn't see Mr. Stone back in the back. But he gonna tell you hashtag Live the Three, baby. Live the Three. What are you talking about? What the hell is Live the Three, man? What weird stuff is that? Talking about the three prime directives, baby. Here on Planet Bart, we've got the three prime directives. Directive number one: you've got to be signal punching through the noise. You got to be the signal in a world full of noise. What is the signal? The signal is the truth, man. Signal is the plain, simple, unvarnished truth. What is the noise? All the deceptions, all the distractions, all the madness that they put in your way to keep you from seeing that truth. You have got to be the signal in a world full of noise. You've got to be the signal that punches through the noise. Rule number two, you got to be the lights in a world full of darkness. And believe me, we are in a world full of darkness. They will try to smother you with that darkness, brother. They will try to smother you with that darkness. They'll try to bury you in it, demoralize you, dehumanize you, emasculate you with the darkness. You have got to be the light. You have got to be the hand that carries the light, that holds it way up high so the people on the other side of that fog can get to it. You've got to have the tenacity to punch that light through the fog, carry that light to the other side of the river through the fog so that they can see that light and not get buried in the darkness, which leads me to my third and final rule, the third prime directive, the final rule, the iron rule. You've got to be strength in a world full of weakness. Not just strength is good, man. This kind of strength is great here and here, but you got to have it here, man. You got to have it here, and you definitely got to have it here. Why? Because without strength, none of the rest of it matters, man. If you don't have strength, you're not going to have the tenacity to carry that light through the darkness. If you don't have strength, you're not going to have the punch to get that signal through the noise. You're going to break when it matters. That's no good to anybody. Back to that old Bruce Lee movie, man. Who knows what beauty has died out of the world for want of the strength to survive. So carry that strength, man. And when you hit your knees, and you better be hitting those knees every night in prayer, you ask for that strength, and you ask for clarity, and you ask for discernment. Because no matter how much you can see the truth, the father of lies is still out there trying to cloud your judgment. Clarity and discernment, man. He's out there trying to snatch it. He gets the best of us. Believe it. But you keep your face in some scripture and your ass under some iron, and I promise you, your world is going to be a better place. In the meantime, between time, God bless every single one of you. Boss man's got the plan. Carpenter's got your back. God bless y'all, man. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We'll see you next week. Peace. Love y'all. Later.